makes lunch not appetizing? If you were a fly on the wall in the cafeteria at Lacey Elementary today in 2019, what do you think you would see? As teachers, we have a duty-free lunch, so many times we are only either there to get our lunch or not there at all. Are you still asleep at 7:30 a.m.? Did you know that as some of you are still sleeping, students are arriving on the school buses just right outside the cafeteria, entering the school and beginning their day with a healthy breakfast? Are you aware that over 60% of our students come from low-income families? We have 390 low-income students come for free breakfast each day. So what about the other 260 students? We only have 300 seats in our cafeteria. Only 2, you say? With only 2 lunchtimes being held each day, this leaves 325 students for only 300 seats during each lunchtime. So next year I'm thinking about adding, with your approval of course, a 3rd lunch. This will clear out 2 lunch tables. It will allow more room for maneuvering around the cafeteria and a clear vision for monitoring behavior. It will also be easier for the people who are at lunch supervising the students to have a better handle on the situation. Knopf said that even 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students, when asked how many times or how many of them have actually been bullied in the course of the last month, 85% of all the students at these different grade levels said they had been bullied at least once in the past month. That's just not acceptable. So here's what we saw when we observed lunch. Here's the behavior. Students were pushing and shoving to find seats, running while exiting the cafeteria. The noise level was heavily elevated. Students were even wandering around after eating. Students got up before the bell rang and no direction was given on when to get up or leave the cafeteria. And when they did leave, tables were littered with trash. There were long lines. It took a very long time for the students to get in, get their lunch, and get seated and ready to eat. And there are not enough tables. So we're having to pull extra chairs from up on the stage to accommodate the students. We only have 3 paras, 3 parent volunteers, and 2 admins per lunch. And we even saw administration sitting on the floor outside the bathroom deciding whether or not they would allow in students to go to the bathroom. This is not consistent with restroom rules. Allow some to go, but not others. Paras must yell at students at the top of their lungs when they were running to exit the cafeteria. I don't think that we would like to be in the supervisor's shoes at that particular time, watching these things happen and feeling like we have no input or no control at all. Our mission here at Lacey Elementary is to inspire, motivate, and support the growth, safety, and achievement of all learners. It's really simple. We need for ourselves, and especially for our children, a new paradigm in which peace is the dominant and desired social construct, and aggression the exception to everyday interactions for boys as well as girls. Yon 2012, page 26. So right now, our strategy starts right now. Let's get organized. You can help make this school, Lacey Elementary, a safer place to be. Here is how we'll start, and then I'm going to open the floor for suggestions. But I want you to think about this. If this were your school, you were running it, you were the principal, what changes would you make to incent good behavior and curb poor behavior? Here are some proposed procedures. You may like some, you may not, but I think if you think about the benefit of the students, just really think about it for a moment. Would these help? We're going to walk the students to lunch in 5-minute intervals. So one class will leave, 5 minutes later, the next class will leave. Since we have hour-long lunches here, this would be perfect for the students to get there, get in line, the cafeteria employees to do their job, get them fed and seated, and then the next group comes in. Students would be seated in order that they get their food. They'd be sitting at the same tables every day, but not in assigned seats. They'd just be with their class. No talking in the lunch line. As soon as the students get there, they are in there for one reason, that's to get their meal so the cafeteria can help efficiently. Adjust to 3 lunches, less crowding, shorter lines, and less commotion. This will lead to fewer behavior issues, reduce pushing and shoving. With your help and the students' help, we'll set procedures in a matrix form. For example, inside voices, raise your hand if you need help or to go to the bathroom. Use positive, helpful words. And in the last 5 minutes, it's quiet time. This is a time to reflect on what is going on. Misbehaviors will get a verbal warning. Continued misbehaviors will have a safe seat and continued a written reflection sheet from the student timeout table. Cash is king. Give it out as if the student deserves it. So here is a list of some proposed Wild Cash menus. As you can see, there's quite a few to choose from. Lunch recess. You can ask the AP to announce your birthday or a friend's birthday at lunch. Extra library visit passes, and here's the point values on the left. So take some time to go through there and see what you think. There's some suggestions that you can make as well as student suggestions. Here's an example of the Wild Cash, and it is for ROAR behavior, respectful, organized, accountable, and reliable behavior, signed by you, given to them as if it were cash. You're it. So staff walks students down in 5-minute intervals, 1 parent volunteer per lunch line. So this is 2 lunch lines. We've got 1 para and 1 parent per lunch line. Once students have their food, paras and volunteers will move to the eating area in 3 areas. 1, the bathroom. 2, the middle of the left of the cafeteria. And 3, the middle of the right side of the cafeteria. Administrators, 2 of them, will stay alert and facilitate a safe environment at all times. No sitting down on the job, as we saw in our observations. Be consistent with expectations. Reward for awesome behavior. We want to keep that up. Dismiss students by cleanliness of areas. Others must remain seated until clean. There is no reason that somebody should be out of their seat, ready to exit when they have a table that looks like a pigsty. Paras located by the door and teachers now in the hallway to monitor behavior as students head back to their classes. What's in it for me? Peace of mind. Organization and good behaviors lead to student success who become productive citizens. Contributions from students and staff. We will send out a Google form to students with a survey of things they expect to see happening in the cafeteria. The survey will ask what they would like incentives to be for good behavior in the cafeteria, and we will implement their ideas into the cafeteria matrix. This will give them buy-in. Why are we here? Why are you here? Sometimes we forget the passion we had when we wanted to be a teacher. Let's get it back. Think, out of all the staff here, who has had your back at all times? You don't need a cape to be a hero. You just need to care. That is a quote from Kid President.